Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. I'm back with a new episode of UnicornTips, sponsored by Network Science. I'm so thrilled to have a veteran with me speaking on an extremely important topic today. Which obviously is critical for all of us to understand why and what is Arun working on. But before I hand it over to Arun, I would like to mention that this platform is a platform created to invite pioneers and innovators from the deep tech world to speak to us on various topics and offer some insights to our listeners. I'm glad that this is the second channel. The first channel, which is co-create.ai, is meant for enterprises, corporates to present their business challenges and how they are collaborating with startups. And now we have started with the other channel, which is the other end of the spectrum, which is to hear from the pioneers and technology innovators on how are they working closely with the corporates to solve the business challenges. On this channel, of course, you will hear tips from and inspirational stories from unicorns and soon to be unicorns, companies who are also pivoting, just like Islantis is, from a services to a platform organization. And this is all done through, in the deep tech world. Deep tech, as most of you know, is a new umbrella term being used these days for emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, IoT, augmented reality, blockchain, and emerging technologies like that. While, of course, these are used in multiple domains, as network science, our focus is largely on domains like cybersecurity, Industry 4.0, fintech, digital supply chain, sales management, and like. So coming back to the topic at hand, we all know, obviously, that along with the pandemic, which has been going on for the last 18 months, came a surge of incidents, cyber incidents of identity thefts. And of course, as most of us know, is the credit cards thefts, which have been topping the list. Now, as a result, the demand of identity and access management platforms is escalating. It's poised to become a $25 billion industry, growing at a very, very fast pace at a global level. So identity and access management, or in short, IAM system, offers framework for businesses to effectively manage and access user identities via an automated system. Furthermore, IAM involves functions such as character creation for different systems, robust authentication service, and the secure exchange of data and information. It's, of course, easy said and done. It's good to see such a system that exists. Companies have been using this system, such a system, or integrating multiple systems to create one system, which is IAM. But I hear implementation is never easy, and it is, and the effectiveness obviously drops by failed implementations, and hence the ability to protect an organization is always compromised. But I hear that there is one company, a global cybersecurity leader, who's poised to change this. Who else? Who better person to speak to me about this? Arun Singh, CEO and board member at Islantis Technologies, is with me today to speak on this topic and provide his insights. Welcome, Arun.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Thank you for having me on your show. Really appreciate today's conversation.
Thank you, Arun. Arun, as you know, the topic, and of course your favorite topic that you've been working on very extensively for years together, the identity and access management solution. We want to understand in very simple terms, why is Islantis pivoting into a converged IAM solution? You call this as a converged IAM solution. You want to understand why did you find a reason to create a platform like that?
So Sandy, this is a very good question to start with. And I'll take a step back and share with you that Ilentus started its journey about 20 years back. And in the beginning, as you mentioned, that we started as a professional services company, looking at all different products from different vendors and implemented those products to gain the insight that what are the issues and challenges. And we did that task for pretty good years, like more than 10, 12 years when we were doing all those implementations. We gained deep insight. And one of the things which we noticed that this entire identity and access management domain, though it is so crucial, so fundamental for any IT critical asset protection, it is growing up in a very, very fragmented manner. And each of the functionality is kind of turning into its own subdomain where there are niche product, okay, which are there to, for organizations to bring in. So, for example, like authentication itself is a big domain, and password management is another domain. Access management, identity governance, each of these area they started growing separately as a subdomain, and multiple product which came up into each of these domains. Now, the challenge of, if you look at from the client perspective, the challenge was that they need to buy multiple tools to be able to solve their identity and access management journey. And we realized this pain point early on in the game. And we noticed that if we can bring more than one component into a single platform, and if we can converge these components into a single code base, okay, that can solve the problem in a big way. There are multiple advantages related to that, but that was kind of a starting point for us to realize that why client need to go through so much of pain of buying multiple different tools and then solve the problem. Why can't there be a single tool to solve the full requirement of identity and access management? So that was a kind of birth for converged IAM solution which we have created, and we call our product as compact identity. As the name indicates, it compacts all different components of IAM into a single platform.
Fantastic, Arun. People who've been in the cybersecurity industry for long, for them, this is such a disruption because there are, as you rightly mentioned, for the IAM to work, there are multiple products that organizations used to buy. And each of these domains are big domains in itself. The market is big. There are lots of companies doing each of these areas, for a lot of years. But to create a platform like this and disrupt that $25 billion industry must be a huge task. So do you think, what is the confidence that you have with regards to organizations looking at this as an alternative and ready to pivot from a 7 vendor different solutions to one solution from Ilantis?
Yeah. So what is happening, Sandy, that in the market, if you look at, people are coming to realize that why identity and access management among all the domains of cybersecurity is more complex, and why it is still so manual intensive. And majority of implementations, as you mentioned in the beginning of your comment, that many IAM projects are failed implementation because they were not able to meet the complete requirement. If you dive deeper into those failed implementation, the root cause is that this is unnecessarily overly complex. And if you look at, there are multiple reasons, okay, I can cite some of them, that it is not a big point to understand and realize that buying multiple tool and integrating them together is an unintelligent way to solve the identity and access management problem. There are multiple challenges in that. First, that okay, you need to make all these components to talk to each other, okay, which means you need to spend more cost, more time and effort to be able to integrate these components together. Then you need to train your people to understand these different IAM components, and each of these technology they need to understand. Now imagine the situation if you upgrade one of those component, again that upgraded component may not talk to the other component, and again you need to go through the problem. And the biggest of all, the application integration into this IAM platform, this is such a big pain that you need to run this entire journey multiple times. First, you need to onboard applications for access management, then you need to do for identity governance administration, and then for multi-factor authentication, and then again for privileged account management. So, this goes on and on and on. And one other element, what people are coming to realize, that many of these full suite independent, subdomain product, okay, they have so many features, functionalities, which are seldom in use by the industries. So you buy a full suite of IGA product, but you don't use the complete product. You use only part of it. And remaining part is, either overlapping capabilities they provide, you don't use it. So the solution, what we are providing, the disruption, what we are doing is to look at identity and access management domain in totality, looking at from regulatory compliance perspective, looking at from the market trend perspective, like zero trust initiative, which is quite common these days and very much in trend. That what are the controls which you need to deploy when you are solving the problem of identity and access management, and bringing all those components together into a single code base immediately makes this entire story very simple and easy to solve. It not just saves your time and effort to be able to deploy the solution, but the entire process of onboarding application, etc., becomes very easy and straightforward. So that's the disruption which we are realizing that, okay, organizations are going to appreciate, and this is going to be a big thing. This is going to be the future of IAM going forward.
Future of IAM, as you say, I think it's very powerful statement, and you rightly said identity and access management. Unless it is robust, fundamentally strong, then cyber attacks will always happen, because that's the fundamental weak link typically that organizations actually have in the space. So it's very interesting for us to know that there is an alternative, there is a disruptive technology available. There is Islantis on one side that is creating this technology, and I also read and hear that the organizations like big analyst firms have started to realize that there is a market that needs disruption, and there is a company like Islantis which is leading that disruption. Would you like to mention a few anecdotes on that area as well, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So while Islantis realized this trend in the market early on, and we were kind of one of the first company to create compact identity product, which was a true converged solution for identity and access management. But later on, the various other groups in the market, they started catching up on this trend. And very recently, Gartner actually published in their market guide for IGA, which they published in December last year. They started now talking about converged IAM space as one of the big trend coming up in the market. Actually, the analysts, they predict that in coming days, in 24 to 36 months period, if you look at, most of the clients, they will be asking for converged IAM solution. So gone are the days when clients are comfortable buying different component from different places and then assembling them together. Majority of clients will catch up with this trend, and all the new deployment. In fact, Gartner predicts that more than 45% of the new IAM deployment will be asking for converged IAM solution. And that's something where we are right now positioned in a very strong way. We are the market leader and bringing this new technology for disrupting this entire ecosystem.
That's brilliant, Arun, and very, very reassuring that it's not only that you're pioneering, this concept, and now obviously there are other organizations that are picking up, Gartner's recognizing it, but also means that you are taking it to market at a global level, because having a technology is one, but taking it in front of enterprises and making them use that technology is in itself also very powerful and very important for organizations to take benefit out of this.
Yep. So organizations like, if you look at the enterprise and mid-market and a smaller organization, what we are noticing, Sandy, that if you dissect the market, the enterprise market is still, they have invested a lot of different technologies. They have the legacy IAM solutions in place, and they are grappling with those facts that how to upgrade them, bring the newer feature functionalities into those solutions. But what we are also realizing that the fastest growing mid market is the ideally suited for us, where still there are a lot of organizations who are yet to deploy a proper IAM solution, automate this entire field. And those are the markets which are kind of our sweetest spot, where we can, give them this solution, which is kind of in one platform, one solution, which is solving end-to-end problem. And especially like some of the recent success I can share with you, like one of the digital banking organization, 100% online banking solution. They liked our solution as a next gen solution to adapt to be able to solve this problem. And not only that, it is bringing the convergence of all the components, but also some of the latest problems which industry is facing, like cloud environment, multiple cloud environment, and cloud and on-prem combination, the hybrid environment. Okay, so those are the solutions also which we have baked in into our solution to be able to create a real strong disruption in the market.
It's awesome. Let's understand, how did it all start? I mean, of course, you mentioned about Islantis pivoting from a services to product because of the sheer market shift that is happening in the IAM space. I want to understand, Arun, from your point of view, right? You've been a veteran, you've been an industry leader, you've built cybersecurity practices for large organizations at a global level. What made you take this challenge? At a personal level, would like to understand that.
That's an interesting question, Sandy. So when I look back, that what prompted me to take this a step and move from a very stable large organization working there to Islantis, which is a startup. Even though it's a 20-year-old organization, but the product journey started quite recently. So I still call it as a startup culture, okay, which was kind of brewing up here. So one of the idea which came to my mind when I was working at my previous organization, EY, was not just looking at the current work environment and whether I'm becoming complacent or challenged enough to be able to learn, but the idea of that if you can see your future, like what is going to happen this year, next year, and following year, then you are not challenging yourself enough. And that was a kind of idea which led me to look for the platform where I can probably challenge myself more, and also get a control of the organization, where all the learnings, all the thoughts which I have, I can actually bring it together to be able to create a real good impact in the market. And Islantis, being a strong brand name, being in the industry past 20 years, gave me that platform, that where it was having the right kind of set of all the ingredients to be able to create this impact. And that's what prompted me to jump to this startup culture, a startup environment from a very, very stable large organization.
So you obviously would have prompted my next question in the same way. What's your tips to fellow professionals who've been working in large companies and now because of the startup ecosystem, being there, you see unicorns coming out almost, toys at 2 or 3 every day from various on various geographies and verticals. So what would you suggest or provide them as tips for professionals who are contemplating to pivot from being a entrepreneur or join a startup?
So I'll tell you that the thought which came to my mind is not kind of very, very unique. Many of the people who are working in the large organization, they're brilliant people, and they every day they think about that, okay, hey, can I do something of the similar sort and take the risk to jump out from the stable environment, to get out of the fort and start something which is more challenging. But what happens because of various different reasons, like their liabilities and family and other things, they, kind of very few of them, they actually take the plunge to jump out of the castle and get into the open market. My advice to, the fellow, professionals would be that life is very short. You must follow your passion. You must dream big and chase that. um, if you're like there is an old saying that if your dreams are not scary, then you're not dreaming big. Okay, so you must dream big, okay, which should scare you, and that's what creates all this change.
Yeah, dreams, scary dreams creates big, yeah,
Big
obviously
results.
only, yeah, big results, and creates massive impact overall, of course. Arun, of course, this change on a personal level, coming from a established career where you've known in the industry to create big businesses, to coming to an organization which has been a 20-year, professional services leader, but then pivoting that company into a platform oriented company, creating a completely new area which is converged IAM, which is, a lot of people think it is very disruptive, a scary dream kind of model. You must have gone through a lot of difficulties and challenges, internally and externally. Can you share a few things in this journey, for us to know what's the journey being over the last, say, 18 months?
Yeah. So if you look at the journey of any of the startup, okay, so the first major challenge was to communicate the idea and the vision to the entire organization, and building a mindset that the path what we are taking is really destructive in the market. It has got the huge potential. And I'll give the example of the autonomous car. If you look at that, and in the beginning, everybody believed that probably this is the most difficult task to automate, and probably this is a task which humans need to do for a very long time, and computers cannot do it. Almost similar kind of a story was there with identity and access management also, where people say that it's such a complex area that you require to have a lot of manual intervention to be able to do put up the controls related to IAM. When we started looking at the market in a very different pair of lenses, okay, we started analyzing multiple different things, like not just bringing the different components together, but also how to create a mindset for our for innovation, which can actually bring some of the added benefit to our customers. For example, like one of the biggest problem in the identity and access management is onboarding application. That entire process is so manual intensive, and as we created the product, we also looked at that how to automate that entire area. And not only that, the kind of focus on innovation, okay, which had been one of our primary driver of differentiating ourselves in the market, led to multiple different innovation into the solution, that how we can bring in the power of artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotic process automation combined together to be able to automate many of the tasks which were traditionally being done manually inside the identity and access management. So I would say that from idea to the execution, and then building the mindset to be able to align the entire organization towards that vision, had been one of the key challenge in the beginning. Many times people come back and say, oh, this cannot be done. Okay, and then we again sit down together, do the brainstorming, figure out the newer approach that how we can solve the problem. And that's how we had been marching inch by inch together towards creating a very powerful solution offering.
Yeah, marching inch by inch in the right direction and disrupting the market. Very well said, Arun. So, where do you see compact identity slash Islantis in the next 3 years?
So in next 3 years, we are definitely looking forward to hold the market leadership position. But our core vision is to be able to establish Islantis as the most innovative identity and access management solution provider in the market. This journey of autonomous car And in our parlance, the autonomous IEM system, okay, we are, there are a lot of work to be done. And it just started first by bringing all the components together. So we have assembled the car. Okay, people don't have to buy different parts of the car from different vendor to be able to create it. But inside also, like as if you look at the core processes of IEM, the joiner, mover, lever processes, when a person joins, okay, you need to manage their identity when they move from one department to another. Many of these things are still happening manually, and our vision is that how we can innovate the full automation into the full cycle of managing in a very intelligent manner, right from the joining till the leaving, the full life cycle of the user's identity, the device identity, as well as various different business partner and consumer, all those identities together into the system. So to summarize, we see ourselves as the most innovative IEM solution provider and the market leader in down the line in 3 years, holding that position and continue to innovate into this space.
I'm sure you would continue to innovate and hold that pole position, Arun. Having interacted with you and your team over the last 2 to 3 months, there is no doubt, at least in my mind, that Atlantis under your leadership will achieve that position. So let's now understand. Obviously, we're coming to the fag end of our interactions, but I still want to have more understanding of you as an individual, because it's very critical. And I've seen this for the last 18 months, being an entrepreneur myself. The person who leads this, the person who communicates the information to the team members, it's very important for everyone to know the individual as well, the not only the professional side of the individual but the personal side of the individual as well. So that's the attempt we have for our listeners. I'm going to ask you some quick questions, personal questions, and whatever comes to your mind. We would appreciate a quick response on that. So let me start by asking, what's your superpower?
Uh, I would say my superpower is the strong foundation of spirituality. Okay, I'd say that actually gives me a lot of kind of the right foundation, I'll say, to keep my work-life balance and also to see things in totality, like not just having the view of the trees, but also the view of the entire life, the forest. So that's what I consider as my superpower.
Fabulous. Very well said. I'm not going to then ask you the second part of my question, that, if you had a choice to have one more superpower, what it could be. But this, the spirituality as a superpower itself is I guess, the best one that one could have.
No, I can always say that, okay, if you give me a choice, okay, probably I would say the second superpower I'll definitely like to have is if I need to imagine and say,
Yes.
so the ability to do the time travel. Okay, I wish I could travel in the future and figure out what's going to happen to come back and change all the ways that we how to set things more stronger.
Of course. Wish everyone could have that. Arun, what's your, outside of Islantis, what's your passion? What are your hobbies? Do you find time to carry out your hobbies or passions?
Yeah, so you might have guessed from my the blend of mine that my all my free time goes into meditation and yoga. Okay, I practice it quite deep. So these days I'm more exploring the Kriya Yoga, okay, which is a branch
Yeah.
of yoga to be able to get not just peace of mind but holistically looking at mind, body, and soul together. So that's my passion, that understanding more about more and more from theory to the practical. Like we have learned so many, gone through so many books, but majority of
Right.
my free time goes into practicing and translating from theory to practical and gaining some of those experiences in this domain.
This is brilliant. So much to learn from you, Arun. Uh, if you had on your smartphone, if you had only three apps that you could have, What would they be?
Only three.
Only three.
So definitely, like one of the app, I would say that the browser is definitely needed, because we can do a lot of things, even though it will be painful, but we can,
Yeah.
run multiple other, access my mails and all that. And second one will be the settings. Okay, because I need to control my device. And the third one I'll say will be, because it's a phone, so naturally I need to use it as a phone. So phone app, okay, ability
One
to
app.
call. Okay, those three will be most essential, which comes to my mind.
Fantastic. I've had people saying Amazon, Facebook, WhatsApp, but
From the browser, you can access
of
LinkedIn,
course you can.
Facebook, all of that. That's the reason I
All of
said
that.
that's the super app.
Super app, absolutely. If you had to write a book, and I'm sure you were contemplating writing a book at some point in time, but what what would be the title of that book?
So at this point of time, if I need to write a book, the title will be "The Monk Who Is Yet to Sell His Ferrari." So yeah, that's the direction where I'm heading. That once I'm done with my professional life, so have a strong desire to be able to explore the other part of the life, the purpose of life itself.
Brilliant.
I have a very strong interest in learning the different cultures, people, the religion. Okay, what are the common motivation among the people? Okay, which make them happy, and what motivates people. Coming from various different parts of life and the different cultures. So I think if I have to write a book, it will be having that kind of title.
That is brilliant. Brilliant. Arun, we've interacted for the last 2-3 months. You've seen network science in action for some time. So, if there was an Avenger that you had to associate network science to, what could be that?
So first of all, like Sandy, I'd like to thank the entire team of Network Science for working so closely with us. And we had seen, experienced in past 2-3 months that how professional, how aggressive you guys are in terms of working together and providing us the visibility into the European market. Um, if I need to choose one of the Avenger, okay, I'll probably pick up Iron Man, because despite being arrogant in the personality, that's the one which is most loyal and caring of all the Avengers. And I think that's what reflects network science also, that the kind of the loyalty and the caring of your partners and your associate, what you guys depict. So you are my Iron Man, and to be able to go forward together.
Brilliant, brilliant, Arun. Arun, it's been an absolute pleasure hosting you today. There is so much to learn from you as an individual. Ilantis is on its path to become a world leader in the IAM space, and I wish you and your team all the very best. I'm sure there is lots to be done. However, there is lots already been done as well. So, wishing you and your team all the very best. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Sandy. I really enjoyed this conversation, and looking forward to many more similar kind of sessions. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Arun.
Thank you.